moment to shine on Happy Camper Life. We're loving, living, and learning online on Happy Camper Life.
Hey guys, it's Courtney. I'm your host here of the My Camp podcast, where we just get together and we talk about my camp. So welcome. You're joining me live here in the HC at my camp, and I'm really excited to introduce Amanda Macaluso. And not just, this is what makes this interview, this camp so special, is it's not just Amanda Macaluso, the director of Camp Hayawenta, and that took some after like reading it, knowing how to pronounce it, I had to watch some of the videos on your website. Not only you as the director of Camp Hayawenta, but you brought your family, your husband and your kids, and you yourselves have your own camp story that almost rivals the history of Camp Hayawenta itself. So I want to give a big My Camp welcome to Amanda Macaluso. You are the director of Camp Hayawenta, YMCA Camp Hayawenta in Michigan. So welcome so much. Welcome to my camp. Welcome here in the Girls HC. It's the place to be, always in the summer. So welcome. Introduce yourself and your special guests.
All right. Well, thank you, Courtney. So my name's Amanda Macaluso, and I'm the camp director at Camp Arbutus Hayawenta. We've got two sites. The boys camp is Camp Hayawenta, and here at the girls camp, which is actually where I am. I'm in my office today. We're a YMCA residential wilderness adventure camp up in northern Michigan. So we have campers that come from all over the US for 2 or 4 weeks throughout the summer. And within our camp program, the campers will do all our traditional on-site activities. But another aspect of our camp, which we're really proud of and really feel that is unique to us, is our wilderness adventure component. So every camper and every age will do a wilderness adventure of some kind, be it a simple overnight for our youngest campers, all the way up to 3 weeks hiking, kayaking in Alaska.
I saw that, like the trips that you guys take are amazing. There was like an Alaska trip, and I was watching one of the videos, and someone said we hike like 120 miles in 12 days, and I thought, damn, that is some adventure camp. But so the camp, you're the director of the girls camp, and there is a boys camp. The girls camp is still relatively newish in the camp world as compared to your boys camp. But before we really get into the history of Camp Hayawenta, because it has a very rich, diverse history, but tell me about why'd you bring your husband and your beautiful daughters?
Yeah, so it is a little bit of a family affair. This was my 30th summer at Hayawenta Camp, so
I noticed an accent. Where are you from?
Right. So actually, I was in my 20s. I grew up in Australia. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my life, so packed a backpack and headed over to the US and did a Camp America stint here, actually at Hayawenta camps. Loved it. Was lucky enough to be selected to do that trip that you mentioned, actually 120 miles in 12 days on our Royal National Park with some great campers, a really awesome co-counselor. I loved it so much. I came back year after year. I think it was my 5th or 6th year I met Joe. Joe was a boys camp counselor. So of course, days off and we bumped into each other and we started dating. And then we've been married for 22 years, and he is a teacher year round, but I have hired him as our bus driver, and he's been driving our bus here for the last 20 years. And we have our 2 girls who absolutely embrace camp, love camp. I've often said there's not a day in our house that we don't bring up camp in some context throughout the day. Emma is a freshman at U of M in Ann Arbor, so we're missing her this year. But
U of M. When you say U of M, I'm in Miami, so I'm like, oh, you're in Miami. Oh, you're close, but no.
University of Michigan. Sorry. So not quite as warm.
There you go. I see it.
And with our summers being at camp, our girls have literally grown up here and had their own camp experiences, as well as being the camp director's kids, which I think they've navigated very well. differently every year, but I think they've navigated that really well, and have also embraced being a camper and really being, immersed in the programs themselves.
Wow.
So,
So
and
you
yeah, just loving camp as much as I did the first 5 or 6 years. I just kept coming back year after year, and I had lots of positions leading up to the position that I'm in now. I've been the camp director for 25 years, but I was waterfront director, counselor for a couple of years, program director. I did the trip shack for a year as well. So yeah, this one time fun year Camp America experience has literally become a career for me, and yeah, it's been 30 years.
You are you should be the poster child of Camp America success story. This is why you go, right? And the Australian campers, the internationals, the Australians are the best. So it makes me so happy. And you said to me earlier that your daughters, one of them took their first steps and they crawled at camp. So that, I kind of, I go to my camp with my kids. We're going on years, this will be year summer 6, but it's really such, I recognize how awesome it is and what a blessing to be able to, so many parents, they send their kids to camp and they never get to see it. And I get to see it. And I understand how amazing that is, even if it's from afar. But it's definitely, you had, directors' kids. It's a difficult road, can be a difficult road to navigate sometimes. So that's amazing. And even at my camp too, we have some families where the kids took their first steps and took their, crawled because, these families decided that this was the life that they wanted to provide for their families and their kids, because there's nothing like it. How many days do we have till we can leave, right? I'm ready. So Camp Hayawenta, it's such a unique name. Please, let's have some history of the camp, and even your daughters, feel free, tell us the story of the camp. It was a boys camp in 1914 and then a girls camp in the 90s. So tell me a little bit of the history, even of the name.
Yeah,
drop some knowledge.
Camp Hayawenta on Torch Lake has been a boys camp since 1904, actually. And they had this rich tradition, and it was a very traditional YMCA camp. In the late 80s, early 90s, there was a number of alumni from the boys camp that only had girls. And they were like, we want that camp experience for our girls. We grew up loving camp and have great memories and great relationships. And we want that for our daughters. So the board and people way above me at that point had made some decisions to start a girls camp and try to align the program with what the boys have been doing, but on a separate location. So that was a rented facility, and they started in 1993. That was my first year. I came over with my backpack, and I was taken up to northern Michigan into this little rented facility, and it was one of the best summers, actually. We just kind of rolled with what was happening, really got to know. It was a really small staff. We only had 11 staff. That included a couple of cooks and the camp director, and then the rest of us.
How many campers with 11 staff?
Yeah, we had 90 campers for the whole summer. So we had 3 sessions that they kind of came, but only 2 or 3 or 4 cabins at a time. And that's something that I mention all the time now, as we introduce our new staff every year. I kind of do a little bit of a history, and I'm the only one that's still at camp from those years. But now we have, I hired about 75 staff last summer, and we had 401 campers. So we've definitely grown over the year. But within the first few years of our rented program and our rented facility, we outgrew it. We got bigger and, better every year. And at the same time, Camp Arbutus is a private camp. And it was established in 1914, like you said, and it was being run as a private camp, but the owner and director at the time was getting ready to retire. She had some great connections with the Y folks at Hayawenta. So she made an arrangement and a deal to sell her camp to Hayawenta Camp. So we merged with them. In 1996, our crew from our little rented facility came over to this established, camp, and we merged, which was a little challenging. We had some very strong traditions and some very strong ideals on what we wanted to do from each side. But those first few years, I think really what we had to do is try and find the best of both camps to create Camp Beautis Hayawenta, which I feel that we did. It did take a few years to kind of merge the traditions and the, what we felt strongly about. And then that's what came about, Camp Beautis Hayawenta, and away we've gone from there.
Well, lucky you already had such a strong foundation through your the YMCA roots and the Boys Camp Hayawenta, and just the Y in general has such a strong reputation for creating wonderful camp programs. But Joe, tell us a little bit about your history with Camp Hayawenta. Were you a camper? Did you just start as a counselor? What's your camp story?
Yeah, great question, Courtney. And thanks for having us. I was at University of Michigan, actually, where I'm at now, and I was deciding my career path. And I decided, you know what, teaching sounds like something I want to do. Talked to my high school band director, who's is a big mentor for me. And I said, I'm thinking about teaching. What should I do? He said, you know what, why don't you go work at this camp in Northern Michigan? And I grew up in Southern Michigan. And see if if working with kids is really what you want to do. So in 1997, didn't know anyone up here. I got hired by the director at the time, came on up, and it was a magical place on Torch Lake, all boys, which is a really cool aspect of our YMCA camp program up here at Hayawenta, is that we have single genders at both sites. And it was just a magical summer. I decided to come back in 98, and that was the year I met Amanda that year. And I continued on through 2000, and when I did an extended trip, my final big trip to Appalachian Trail, we hiked that for 3 weeks with a group of boys. And then Amanda snatched me away, and she grabbed me as the driver. We got married that year before my final year, and that started our venture together at Hayawenta Camps since, I guess, starting in 1998. So that's my story, and it just continues to build from there with our daughters and their experiences. And Amanda and I have been at this quite a while, and she'll be very humble, but this place is pretty magical and special because of all the things that she's done and the culture that she's created. And it's and she doesn't say it enough, but we Camp Hayawenta, Camp Beautis Hayawenta owes a lot to her leadership and everything she's done. So that's my story.
You're lifers. So girls, tell me, how old are you, girls? Your names, and remind me your names and tell me how old you are.
Emma Mac.
Emma, you go.
I am Emma Macaluso, and I am 19 in 2 weeks. And yeah, last year was my 10th summer at Camp YMCA. Our Beautis Hayawenta, I was a camper for 8 years, started at the very beginning, like as soon as I could, and then have been a staff member for 2 years.
So you're a freshman?
Yeah.
And then your sister?
Hi, I'm Zoe Macaluso. I'm a junior at Elk Rapids High School. I'm 16, and this year was my 8th year as a camper, but technically my 16th year on camp.
Was this like in terms of being a camper, was this like your last summer as a traditional camper aged?
Yeah, so this last summer I went to Alaska. I did that trip, and it was just an incredible experience. I kept saying, people were like, oh my gosh, like, what did you do? How was it? I didn't have words, because words just didn't put it into how impactful that is. And
so for these special trips, what age do you have to be to go on these like extended? You go to Alaska, you're hiking for 120 miles in 12 days. What are those ages? So tell me a little bit about, and girls, definitely share. No, don't have to put all the pressure on your mom and your dad, but it's, you have very distinct programs between like the 4 weeks, the 2 weeks, and then these adventure trips. So what are the kinds of programs that you have that you offer there at both camps?
Yeah, well, I can talk about our youngest kids. So traditionally we start ending 8th grade. going into third grade. I don't know why. Going into third grade is our youngest campers, and they just do a little overnight trip on site, Hammock Forest. I think I did that trip 4 times. I was an adventurer 4 times. And then our next trip is a overnight over at the Boardman River. And then the next age group is 2 nights at the Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes. And then anyone else?
But those campers, those third graders, they're coming for 2 weeks, correct? Like they're coming for 2 weeks. And then you offer like a 4-week, more of like the traditional for starting in 5th grade, correct?
Starting in 6th grade is really when we start our 4-week options. And the 4-week program, actually each of our stages, it becomes more of a challenge. We feel like it's appropriately challenging for that age group, but more of a challenge and longer in length as the campers get older. So that the trip that we all are chatting about, 120 miles on our Royal, that's finishing 8th grade. And that is a challenge. I mean, I remember it being a challenge for me as a counselor. I think, Emma, you felt the same when you were a counselor on that trip too. But I think that's the beauty of our camps, the shared experiences that our kids have out in the field or out in the trail. They come home with all the stories and all the, we had to hike uphill both ways with our backpack that weighs like 85 pounds and they did it, and they come back with the stories and the success and the relationships that they build. But basically every camper, regardless of their age, will do a trip of some kind while they're here, either for 2 or 4 weeks.
Wow. Okay. So take me through, and this is probably a really good question for the girls. Like, what would be and I hate to say normal because nothing's normal, right? Everything's extraordinary, but like a typical day at Camp Hayawenta, what's it like? You wake up, take me through the schedule.
Your turn, Emma.
Okay. So the campers wake up at 8 in the morning is polar bear. The younger they are, the more likely they are to do polar bear, is what I've learned. Polar bear is when you get up in the morning, 8 a.m. and jump into the water. At Torch Lake, our site on Torch Lake, it's much colder. I would say it's a bigger challenge over there than it is for us. Our lake is pretty warm. When I had 13, any of my campers under the age of 13, they wanted to do it every single day. But once you get older than that, they kind of like sleeping and don't really like that. And then we have flagpole at 8:30. Where the whole camp gathers around the flagpole. We raise the flags and do announcements, sing songs. The kids love that.
Whoa, you sing a song?
Oh,
What
we
kind
sing
of
songs.
songs do you
single
sing?
day.
Well, what is
Oh,
it?
well,
Emma, let me hear it. Sing the song, Emma and Zoe.
Good
Let's
morning.
hear your favorite
Oh.
camp flagpole song.
We
Come
have the classic, our officer of the day is the one who raises the flag. So every single morning they go, hi, I'm Zoe and I'm your OD. And then everyone goes, GOOD, MORNING, good morning. Good morning.
I might have to learn that. I'm gonna have to take some notes and have another conversation for my own campers next summer. Love that. So if you say sing again, guys, be prepared. You're gonna sing, okay?
Cool.
Okay. So the kids love flagpole. It's when they get to make their announcements. They lose every single thing they brought to camp, so they always have to make announcements about that. And then we walk to our dining hall, usually along the water. It's always a really beautiful walk when we walk in the morning. We get to the dining hall. We also sing our graces in the morning. So we have.
All right, it's your turn, Emma. Sing it. Sing it.
Okay, my favorite morning grace is I like Johnny Appleseed. It's a classic.
Oh, the one. Can we sing it together?
Yes, please.
Ready? Oh, the Lord is good to me. And so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need. Sun and the rain and apple seeds. The Lord is good to me. Wow, that was a throwback. That is a good one. Oh, love that. Love that. So you sing for your supper?
Yes, every event we sing. Um, so we have breakfast. After breakfast, the campers go back to their division areas. We separate our age groups into divisions, so just groups of cabins. And we clean our divisions, we clean the cabin, make sure the beds are made. We do a cleanest cabin competition to motivate the kids to clean up. Lots of them get really into it and really want to win. But sweep the floors, take out the trash, make sure the division area is clean, and that's for about half an hour. And then we get ready and go to our first cabin time of the day. So the cabin as a group before the week chooses different camp activities to do on our own, and then we also get assigned a lot of different things like arts and crafts and sailing and waterfront. We usually get assigned those activities, but we get to pick the more creative ones, like my campers did. What they did Matilda cabin time once. They just wanted to make a cake and eat it, like the kid in Matilda who puts it all over his face. So we
Ruth.
huge chocolate cake, and we ate cake, and that was our cabin time. So they vary based on traditional camp activities and then just whatever the kids are feeling. So we have 2 periods in the morning for cabin times, and we do lunch. And after lunch is my favorite hour of the day because it's rest hour. And so we rest for 1 hour, usually 45 minutes if the lunch goes too long. But the kids write letters, they do drawings, they have to go to the bathroom 10 times per rest hour. And we do that, and then we do our instructional period. So the campers get to choose, and it's like pretty special for them because they don't have to be with their cabin groups during this time. They get to go and choose with kids from other divisions and other cabins. And that's usually a more, like I said, like instruction focused. So I've led like a boating, we call it 5-day before, where the kids who are really interested in like learning how to set up boats and like do different types of paddling and stuff like that. So they're very specific. And then we have G Swim, where all our lifeguards go out onto the waterfront, and we have just like general swim. We call it G Party sometimes because it's always a party down at the waterfront. We've got speakers going.
Always a
And
party at the waterfront in the afternoon.
it's always
Always.
yeah. So a lot of them get really into that, whether they're swimming or not. We have like beach games open, and there's usually different activities going on. Like our climbing wall is usually open, and arts and crafts is usually open during G Swim. So that's another opportunity for campers to like choose where they want to go, which like gives them a lot more freedom, which they like. And then we have counselor swim. Counselor swim is when counselors get time off to swim and shower and all that good stuff, and the campers are in their divisions doing like division-wide activities with like their division leaders, who are like senior staff who like oversee different groups of kids, and that's for about 45 minutes. A lot of the divisions have different things to do within them, so like a lot of them have gaga pits and tether balls and fun stuff like that. And then we have another flagpole where we lower the flags, and the campers also make announcements. My favorite part about evening flagpole is the trip songs that a lot of the campers come back from their trips with. So we talked a lot about how like it's very unique that all ages of campers get to go on wilderness trips, and the older ones, a lot of times it's a huge event for a lot of them, a big like life-changing moment for tons of kids, and they often write a song about like their trip and their experience and like to their counselors. And so towards the end of the session, when all the kids are back and they sing their songs to their counselors, that's always my favorite part.
Would you say that is like one of your favorite camp traditions, are the writing of these like original songs to the counselors? So
yeah,
I know
definitely.
so I know you remember one.
Oh, well, I don't, well, we write them every year. The campers, not only do the campers write songs for their counselors, but at the end of every session, we have a banquet where the counselors prepare songs that they wrote for their campers as well. And so that I won't sing it now, but I do remember when I led my trip to Isle Royal this year, my co-counselor and we wrote a song for our kids that I think about a lot. It was to a Taylor Swift song, so that's why I remember it. So yeah, that's my favorite part. Evening flagpole, writing songs, my favorite camp tradition. And then we have dinner. And then a lot of kids look forward to every single day the evening activity. And we do lots of different evening activities from like division specific to all camp games. My favorite are all camp games. We play like Predator Prey and all camp Gaga. And I love the scavenger hunts that we do. What are some other camp activities? Oh, we do skit nights. Campers love.
Campfires.
Zoe, what's your favorite? Since you're still, you're still just finished the camper mode. What's your favorite camp tradition?
Yeah, tradition wise, I think we do something pretty special, and we give moons based on how many years you've been at camp. So all the first years get the same bronze crescent moon, copper crescent moon. And it's really special. You wear it around your neck, and it's just kind of always a reminder. And then your 5th year, you get a silver full moon, and then 10-year is the gold full moon, and it keeps going. It goes to stars. We had to make up a couple of moons for my mom over there, who's been here for 30 years. But yeah, so in terms of traditions, that's definitely very high on my list. I love wearing my moons and just looking down and remembering everything. So
Do you still have them?
I'm not wearing them right now. I'm wearing actually the whale tail that I bought in Alaska. So everyone that I went to Alaska with, we all have the same whale tail. So,
But are the moons like become part of like your summer jewelry, like your camp wrist or your neck mask or whatever that you wear in the summer? These moons, this jewelry, yeah. I personally am all about creating the memories through like jewelry and beading and camp, so that you remember. Everyone has you remember exactly what you were doing and what you were thinking, and when you create each piece. So yeah, I think that is very special. What about you, Joe? What's your favorite camp tradition? And you're coming from like the boys' side, so it's a little different, huh?
Yeah, and I would say, my boys' time is so long ago. I mean, it was quite a while ago last time I was there. I mean, honestly, my favorite tradition is one I'm involved in, but most of the time. But the boys don't do this. So this is very much our Arbutus Hay-Wenta YMCA Arbutus Hay-Wenta thing. And what it is when I am driving the big blue bus, because we have all these blue buses that we bring, and I take the girls to their trips, come back a week or two later, pick them up from their trips. These are in like Canada, the UP of Michigan, all these, places near our camps even, but especially the long trips that take about 8 to 10 hours to get to. Long trip back. Amanda tracks where I'm at on my phone. And what the girls and the staff do is they get every single person in the camp, like knows when we're about to arrive. They all are standing in front of the lodge. When I pull the bus into the driveway, it's pure pandemonium. The girls in the bus are so excited. They're singing songs. They sing the camp song. You have to sing the camp song as you're pulling in the driveway. It's a rule. It's a tradition. You have to sing it.
Okay, so time out.
Yep.
What is the camp song?
Are you guys ready?
Come on, Joe, let's
Alright,
go.
we should
Right,
sing
let's
it.
do it.
Okay. Camp days,
Dear
dear,
our
our beautiful blue, we recall them all on the sloping pine hills, in the dining hall, ne'er will we forget thee, nor our fathers three, 1, 2, 3. Back and hay away, each for all are we. 1, 2, 3, 4, come on below. Will you choo-choo, rah-rah, choo-choo, rah-rah, choo-choo, rah-rah,
Come on, below.
choo-choo, rah-rah, choo-choo, rah-rah, rah, 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 come on below. Choo-choo, rah-rah, choo-choo, rah-rah, choo-choo, rah-rah, come on below. Choo-choo, rah-rah, choo-choo, rah-rah, for hey,
Yeah.
that's it.
That was awesome.
Nice.
This is the
Good
first
job.
time in our My Camp podcast history that we have had, well, we all sang 5, but like had a family sing along. So thank you, Macaluso families, for singing songs for me. I really appreciate that. So birthdays, guys, how do you celebrate birthdays at camp? What makes a summer birthday at Camp Winter special?
I love camp birthdays. Here's what we do. So it's usually dinner. And what the counselors do is they sneak off into the kitchen, and we have these massive bowls. They're probably like, they're really big. And the counselors load it with ice cream and so many toppings, an insane amount of toppings, so much ice cream. And they put candles in them. And then our officer of the day, who is doing our announcements, goes to the dining room, the door into the kitchen, opens it. We have a birthday. We all sing happy birthday, but it's kind of a twist. We do lots of yelling and banging on the table. And then the camper blows out their candles, and the cabin passes around the ice cream bowl, each with their own spoon, and they take bites until it's all gone.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. How many, Amanda, how many kids do you have like at camp at one time? So for one session, you're in the dining hall. How many kids do you have?
Probably anywhere between 140 and 165 at any one time.
And then you're seeing like 400 for the whole summer with all
Yeah.
combined?
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot of kids. What's like the favorite meal? You know, like, oh, this is what we love this.
I mean, Taco Tuesday is pretty tough to beat. That's my favorite. I don't know, what do you
You
guys
can't go
think?
wrong with a Taco Tuesday,
right?
okay? Please. You can't go wrong. What about you, Zoe? Do you have a favorite camp meal?
Okay, so I think for lunch, I'll go through the perfect day, and it's
Okay.
that French toast for breakfast.
Like sticks or the toast?
No, they're pieces. They're full pieces. Yeah,
Okay.
so good. And then I love our grilled cheese and tomato soup for lunch. I think it's really good. And then this isn't personally my favorite, but there's this long-standing debate on pierogies, which it's like the Polish potato pasta thing. It's either everyone, like, they're so into it and they love it so much and they eat like 100, or they go up to the salad bar. But I just think it's really funny to see the division there. So
Are you salad bar or are you pierogi?
pierogi day, I do a little bit of both.
All right, it's tradition, so you like gotta have one.
Yeah,
right?
and I don't mind a pierogi. I love a good pierogi. So.
We at my camp, we serve on cookout days. We serve knishes. It's a knish, and not my fave, but I always have to have one because it's part of the tradition. You gotta eat the knish at the cookout. So what about you, Joe? Favorite camp food?
As you talked about cookouts, I really love the cookouts, and anytime when we can grill out on the beach, burgers, hot dogs, just traditional, they got the music going. I haven't the last couple of years, but sometimes I come out there and help grill if I'm free and I'm not driving. So those are my favorite. I just love being outside on the waterfront and enjoying, everything, all the atmosphere.
All right, so any of you could answer this question. What would be your favorite, like, this one time at my camp story? Funny story. Maybe this summer, last summer.
I just want to throw out there, I don't know if you've noticed, Courtney, but we've all just done our B reels. I don't know if you do that.
It's funny. I saw you taking a picture and I was like, oh, she's going to post a picture of us at the, oh, it's your reel.
But I might still, don't worry, I still might post a picture.
Okay.
But one of my favorite things every year is the lead up to our extended trip, or our Alaska trip. It's always an honor for me to invite the staff to be the leaders of that trip. And it's always staff that I know that have grown up here, have shown me that they can be great leaders, and really connected with the campers and really do a good job. So they're the best of the best. And every year I try and come up with a unique way of asking the staff member from this year to come and be the counselor for the Alaska trip next year. So one of our first staff member from this year, we actually asked her at banquet, which is what I've been doing for the last couple of years. A little twist on this year, we had her campers come up with a song, of course. And at the end of the song, they said, we would like you to go to Alaska. But the next staff member that we invited to be a leader for our Alaska trip, I rallied everybody I knew with Emma's help, all the counselors and all her friends that are on Be Real. And I came up with a little photo. Actually, Emma, of course, helped me. It's been, these two have been they're my constant source of feedback, both positive and negative. Like, I have had a couple of conversations over the years with them, like, Mum, this is the silliest thing I've ever heard. Do not do this at camp. But then they're like, this would be great. You should do this. Or, yeah, that sounds fun, but let's change it up a little bit. And so they've been a really good source of assistance, actually, to help, make camp great. But anyway, we decided to do this Be Real. How many staff did we have, Emma? There was probably 30 people posted the same Be Real, the photo of Ellie.
Right.
And then we all posted it, and then we just waited for her to post her Be Real. So when she came on to do it, she had all these Be Reals that were the same from all of us saying, you're going to Alaska next summer. So that's just, that's always my fun, just to come up with a new way of asking the staff to do that trip for the next year. So
What I love about that is that, number one, you're getting them to commit for the following summer. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more, one less staff member you have to worry about, right? And
Yep.
the second, like, it's you special, like you're asking them to homecoming or to be your bridesmaid, or however you can make it to be like that, to know that they've worked hard, especially those staff that come back year after year, to know that they work something. At my camp, we do we have our big color war, our Olympics, and to be asked at the end, or to not be asked but be chosen to be part of the leadership of that, is like a very, very, it's what they've worked towards, the staff.
Yeah.
So it's so important to keep their morale high. So ladies, Zoe and Emma, am I gonna be interviewing you as the director of Camp Hayawenta in like a couple years? Is there a future for you in camping?
You never know. When I was growing up, like when I was a camper, I always used to say that would be my job one day. And I definitely have been. Right now I'm studying political science and international studies, so I'm not really sure if that's the path that will lead me directly to the camp director job. But I have been staying very involved with the YMCA through other extracurriculars, and also just like little part-time jobs, like being a lifeguard at the YMCA. So I definitely see myself being involved in the Y in the future. Whether that's a camp director or not, we will have to see.
Well, what's interesting, even in my interviewing camps and learning more about camping, not just even in this country, but throughout the world. So, a political science degree and international studies could really get you out there and make a difference for kids in countries. I know through my camp, our directors have a real strong relationships with Global Camps Africa, and being able to provide these summer camp experiences for kids that really need it, and it's just not part of their everyday culture. So what about you, Zoe?
Yeah,
camping?
very similar to Emma. YMCA Camp Arbutus makes my summer, and then YMCA Michigan Youth in Government kind of makes the rest of my school year. So I've had many opportunities with them. I actually getting the opportunity to go to DC in February with them and meet with our state representatives. But I just, whichever way the wind blows, but I definitely want to be involved with the YMCA in some way.
We got to get you to college first, right? Let's graduate high school.
Yeah.
Right? I feel you. Guys,
I'll be hiring her when she's 18. So
well, if not,
there.
I'm going to hold their contact, and my camp is going to be reaching out to these girls. All right.
Oh, I don't know. We might have to fight over that.
At my camp, the our director, her daughter, and now her new husband also work at the camp. And I think, wow, what? Again, like bringing in the whole family. You guys go as a family, but be able to create something that then your daughters want to work with you and be able to have that as it's just got to be every parent's dream, right? Like, good job. So
It has been great. We've also
want-
hired, I've hired both my brothers, my sister, a couple of nieces,
Nice, that's good.
cousins. Joe's sister has worked at camp. Both Joe's mom and my mom have been official nannies during the summer for our girls when they were young. So yeah, I've definitely hired, I think, every member of my family.
my dream is to bring my sister, okay, my sister and my nieces, for all of us to just come be at camp all summer and have the best time. But so it's really, I love it. And camp becomes your secondary family anyway. So it's just, it's really
Yes.
crazy. Well, guys, this has been so great. We could just continue talking, but I cannot end this without at least playing a little bit of my favorite camp game ever, the 7-second challenge. Now I'm going to let Joe and Amanda take a break on this because this is like a younger person's game. So we're going to write Zoe and Amanda. Are you ready to play the 7-second challenge?
Of course, yes.
All right. I'm
go.
going to give you 7 seconds to do a challenge. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. You have 7 seconds to make up a word and define it. All right. Once I'll get you off the hook. All right. Give me a word that only a Hayawenta person, what do you call your campers? Just campers, or like Hayawenta? What would be some vocab that only you would know, or a Hayawenta would know? Camp words. Your own language.
All right, my first one is gonna be gopher. Some people call them cookies, some I'm not sure, but they're the people who run back and forth into the kitchen and get the like they set the table and they go bring the food in and out, and we call them gophers. And the first year campers, we say gopher, and they have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, so who would be a gopher at your camp?
Well, each day a different camper from the cabin.
Oh, so it's a camper. Oh, so they're like, oh, we need more punch, we need more this. Right. Oh, I like that, a gopher. What about you, Zoe? You got a word for me?
Yeah. So I was thinking we have, actually we didn't have it this year, but we usually have a pitcher of juice on our table. I think bug juice is a good one. I think it's pretty consistent through a couple of camps. And my other one I just thought of is we have some pretty unique trip names, I would think. So we have, if I tell you I was an extendo last year, what's that?
I don't know.
Yeah. And then we have a couple more, some more common ones: bushwhacker, trailblazer. I like them a lot. So
I did notice that on your website. It had like, you had all the different trips, and I remember seeing like the bushwhacker sign. All right, guys, there's another game I love to play, my own twist on 20 questions, but I like to call it name that thing. What's my thing? So Amanda, you have something with you that's very just significant to camp that only a camp Hayawata would know. Did I say that right? Oh my God. Hayawenta, sorry, would know. So tell me, let's play a game of 20 questions. Do you have your thing?
I sure do.
Okay. Is it something you would wear?
Yes.
Does it go on your head?
No.
Does it go around your neck?
Yes.
Does it make noise?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm not usually very good at this game, and I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna get it. Is it for safety?
No.
Is it for like a costume?
No.
And you said it went around your neck, right? Is it multiple colors?
Nope.
It's one color.
Yep.
I'm so terrible at this game. All right, girls, do you know what it is? You want to help me guess?
Are there multiple things on it?
Can be.
Okay. I know what it is.
Is it the moon necklace?
It sure is. It was the one thing I had to get. This is our copper moon that all our first year campers get. They get it on this little thread. Usually they make their own little necklace and add it to it in arts and crafts, but you keep the first year and then you wait until you get your 5th year, and then you get your 10, and you keep adding every 5 years. You'll get another significant a significant ornament, I guess, to put around your neck, and we make a big deal about it, and we have a ceremony, and we take photos and light candles, and it's pretty neat.
Oh, look.
Oh, that's awesome, Zoe.
Here they all
Oh,
are.
I love that. And then, all the campers have them and I got mine with this and you got yours, and everybody has a story behind their moon, and everybody's story is different. And that's just what, everybody's stories are different, but it's still the same that brings, it's that culture of camp. And one of the quotes that I read on your website, from like one of your, maybe the founder, it was talked about like, these kids, you stay in touch, and you might not, see each other again, but you're going to stay in touch and you're going to share pictures of your family. And it's just because it is the culture of camps. And I know his quote was meant, I think, directly towards like the YMCA of these Camp Hayawenta camps. But I mean, the culture of that's just the culture of camp. So
Yeah.
it is, it's really special. And what you have created for your own family is incredible. And that you're able to provide for, 400 kids a summer. So hats off to all of you Macalusos. Great job. Thank you so much for joining me today on My Camp. It was a pleasure talking to you. I love the spirit of your family. I mean, the families, it's really special. I feel it. I appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining me today live in the HC. If you love talking about camp and you want to learn more about camps all across the United States and the world, come listen to the My Camp podcast. You can hear us where you listen to your podcasts, on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, as well as, I did say YouTube. So that's where you can find us. And thank you to Happy Camper Live. And we'll see you next time. I'll save us more for you.
Take a moment to shine